All right. Good morning, Facebook. So you're probably noticing that we're a couple minutes late this morning, and that is because we were really crossing our fingers that the rain was going to hold off. But alas, when we got to the field and started setting things up, that's when the rain started to come down. So we made a last minute quick decision to get into the studio. We have Erin Kent over here. We got Constantina. And this is so exciting. So we're just going to have a little small flow inside today. So I hope you guys are able to join us. It's been a couple weeks since I've done this version of our live classes. The last couple weeks we've been able to do it outside. So forgive me if I'm a little rusty. Just curious, who's here this morning? We got Nisa. Hey, Nisa, how is the audio working? Is it good for you? Good on your end? We have our Instagram live going. Awesome. Let's just take a breath now that we are set up, ready to go. Welcome, you guys. Tom is here. Audio is working. Everything works out. So I wanted to make a quick announcement. I just wanted to give my dear friend Amy a shout out for all of the hard work she's been putting in these last couple weeks to get the studio up to par with being able to open. She's been working every single minute of the day pretty much to get Mystic to where it needs to be, and we're just so thankful to have her. A lot of behind the scenes work of, going and getting all of the equipment and then hiking it, lugging it down to the field. It's not easy. It's a pretty good workout. So I just wanted to give her a thank you. We had our first Bikram class in the studio yesterday at 4 p.m. And it was a huge success. So thank you for all of you who turned up yesterday. And going forward, our Bikram classes for indoor studio will be 4 p.m. on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sundays. So that's Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, 4 p.m. in our studio. There is a limit on how many people can come, so please, please, please make sure that you pre-register on Mind Body. That makes it so helpful for us if you guys can do that. And if you want to secure your spot, please pre-register ahead of time. You also need to sign a little bit of a COVID disclaimer sheet. So if you can print that off of our email or newsletter, that would be awesome, and kind of sign it before coming. If not, we will have some copies here, but it definitely makes it a little bit smoother of an entrance if you already have them. We'll also be doing Saturdays 4 p.m. outside at the field with Cheryl doing an Inferno Hot Pilates. So these are like the couple new changes that we've made for the week. Again, our 9 a.m. live feeds are not going anywhere. They're staying, and they'll also be open to the public to come with us outside. So if you have any questions, you guys know where to find us. Please message us on Facebook, email, call, text me, text Amy. We're always available to answer any questions. And your questions might be something that maybe we really need to hear. So thank you guys. All right, let's go ahead and get started. No more dilly-dallying here. No rain in this studio. Come into a comfortable position, either laying down or in a seated position, whatever kind of calls your name this morning. Let a wave of breath come over you. So breathe in and out. Again, in through the nose and out through the nose. And just allow all of that energy that it took to get you onto your mat to just begin to fade. And me, Amy, Erin, we were out on the field and made a game time decision to bring ourselves inside. I just want to take a moment to let all of that circulating energy just kind of relax back down. And same goes to you. Anything that got you onto your mat this morning, just let it go. You're here now. Your physical body has arrived. Now let's bring that emotional and mental body into the same space that your physical body is in. It's almost like when you throw a stone in water, and for a moment there's this chaos of ripples, and the bottom, maybe the sand and the silt, is displaced. Then after a couple moments, those ripples start to fade. Moving farther and farther across the water. And eventually, the sand and the silt settles back on the ground. And using this process for the beginning of our practice. And if the ripples are still moving, just know that maybe throughout class it will soften. Take another big breath. And slowly starting to reawaken, wiggling the fingers and toes, perhaps rocking of the head from side to side. It looks like we're all reclined, so let's go ahead and follow along by coming onto your backs. Taking a nice full body stretch, so reaching the arms up overhead. Let the limbs kind of pull apart from one another. Fingertips reach for the front, toes reach for the bottom. Rolling at the wrists and ankles here, opening and closing the palms a couple times. Your gaze can still be slightly shut. And then pulling the knees into the chest, giving yourself a squeeze, perhaps a gentle little rocking side to side to massage the sides of your back. And then with hands on the knees, start to roll the knees away from the body and then back into the body. So creating some nice circling movements. And personally, I actually like to take this with the hands underneath my tush. So I kind of bring my palms on the ground underneath my bum and then start to rotate here. Gives my lower back a little bit more support, I find. So maybe you give it a try. Maybe you're just really loving the area that you're in. Take them in the opposite direction. If at any point you feel uneven on one side, just return back. And then planting the soles of the feet to the outer edges of your mat. If those palms are underneath your bum, go ahead and open them up into a T. And then just drop the knees from right to left. So accessing some gentle twisting through the lower back. Maybe your gaze follows in the opposite direction of the knees to get a gentle stretching through the neck. And if at any point you want to pause on one side for a couple breaths, and then go to the other side for a breath or two, or maybe you're enjoying just a swaying. So finding this practice with curiosity is really the key into moving functionally. Your body is so intelligent, and it will very rarely put you in any sort of predicament that isn't functional or healthy. And that's usually where the ego comes into play. Eventually walking the soles of the feet so they're stacked right below the knees and close to the body. Bringing the arms alongside of you with the palms facing down. Finding some rolling bridges. We'll start with just a gentle pelvic tuck. So just practice that motion of kind of tucking the pelvis and then pressing the pelvis back into the earth. So just starting one little movement at a time. Eventually, with the inhale, when you tuck that pelvis, it might lift up off the ground an inch, maybe two, and then slowly roll back down the opposite way you got into it. Once those hips land, press into the ground. So the inhale, we're curling. Maybe you start to press into the heels and lift the hips up to the sky. And with the exhale, slow roll back down. So these are our rolling bridges here. Taking them with any breath pattern. Inhales, rise. And exhales, lower. Maybe the arms want to get involved. Inhale, arms reach up as the pelvis lifts. And with the exhale, as the pelvis rolls back down, arms come back down. Take about 2 more. Making it work for your breath. Find your last one. Eventually planting the pelvis into the ground. We're going to find a half child's pose, happy baby pose, excuse me. So with that left foot still planted on the ground, just bend right knee and press the right heel up towards the sky. This can be where you stay. Maybe the arms are just open into a T, or maybe you can bring your hand onto the sole of right foot. You might even be able to grab the calf or shin as well. That's a beautiful modification. Now from here, I like to rock a little side to side. We're kind of trying to pull the energy of the right knee towards the armpit area on the right side. You can bend and extend through that right leg a couple times. You might even lengthen that left leg down your mat depending on how tight your hip flexors are this morning. We'll be here for about 1 more breath or so. And then planting the sole of the right foot back on the ground, pointing the left foot up to the sky with a bend in the left knee, letting that leg come out to the left just a touch. And then again, you can grab onto the calf or shin, or maybe you grab onto that left sole of the foot. Again, some rocking side to side, even letting that right knee drop out to the right a little bit here can feel nice. Maybe lengthening that right leg down your mat, bending and extending in the left leg a couple times. And this is one of the poses that I've been utilizing a lot lately. It feels really nice. Beautiful. We'll pull both knees back into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And then keeping right knee pulled into the chest, lengthen left leg down your mat. We're going to come into a little core activation here. So I want you to take that right knee and stack it above right hip with a flexed right foot so that leg is in a 90-degree angle. And then take left hand behind your head as a little pillow and bring the palm of the right hand and press into right thigh. But that right thigh isn't going anywhere because it's engaged. So there's this kind of contrast of pushing with the right hand and right thigh pressing into the right hand. From here, lifting that left heel off the ground to a hover, we'll pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7. Keep pressing into right thigh. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull both knees into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. We're knocking off some of that core exercise off of our list. We did have a little bit of a late start, so we might go a little bit past 10 o'clock today. Then keeping left knee pulled into the chest, lengthen right leg down your mat. Find a quick little wind relieving pose. And then stack left knee above left hip. Bring the right palm behind the head as a little pillow. Press left palm into your thigh. Press it really hard. Find that connection there. Notice how your abdominals are already starting to zipper up. Lift that right heel to a hover and pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull both knees into the chest, either rocking onto one side and lifting your way up or rocking and rolling like a rocking chair. Should feel nice maybe on the spine. If not, that's okay too. Just come into a seated position. Inhale, circle the arms up to the sky. Maybe your gaze follows. And then with the exhale, pull the hands towards your heart, either keeping the palms together or placing the palms over your heart. Let your eyes close. And once again, just connect to the soul here. Maybe even inwardly asking your soul, how are you this morning? Notice the answers that begin to arise without any sort of controlling of your thoughts or emotions. We'll begin class with the single sound of Om, starting with a cleansing breath. Breathe in, breathe out. And for Om, inhale. And again, a big thank you for all of you joining us in the studio and outside of the studio this morning. I'd be lying if I said I didn't get a little choked up with that Om. It was really beautiful. Thank you. Let's go ahead and transition into our table pose. So take your time to arrive. We're going to stack the wrists below the shoulders, knees below the hips. With the inhale, arching the spine, gazing towards the sky. And with the exhale, curling the spine, pressing the floor away, tucking the pelvis under. Inhale, arch to open. Exhale, curl to round. So notice how these movements are kind of reminiscent of those rolling bridges, but now we're accessing it with a little bit more range of motion through the shoulders. This is a very primal way to move on our hands and knees. This is the first way we learned how to move, through crawling. So kind of let that playful energy be experienced. Starting to rock the hips from side to side, maybe taking some waggles here. Maybe even turning these into some full hip circles or maybe semi-circles. And letting your body move with breath here. So don't hold that breath. And if possible, try to breathe in and out through the nose. Take those hip circles in the opposite direction when your body is welcoming that. And then let this motion carry you back into a brief child's pose. So letting those hips sink back. Maybe your forehead rests on a block or on your mat. Feel this energy transfer from the palms into the earth and the earth into the palms. Imagine anything that's causing you any sort of stress or anxiety, and imagine it turning into a pool of water within you. And then opening up, letting all of that water rush into the earth. Let it seep in like rainwater. Rid yourself of what no longer is serving you. One more breath. And then slowly returning back to center, coming into your table pose. Tucking the toes under and lifting the knees to just a hover with a flat back. So we're engaging through our abdominal muscles here. Notice how there's a squeezing of the belly without constricting your breath. Press those heels back, engage your quads and thighs for 3, 2, 1. Send those hips up and back for your first downward facing dog. If you need to remain in your table pose for a couple more breaths and warm up there, you can always stay in your table pose as long as you'd like. If you're joining us in a downward facing dog, start to pedal your feet. So walk that dog out, get some movement through the backs of the hamstrings, rolling the shoulders down and away from the ears. So if you need a visual, you can take a peek in the monitor. Notice how when I'm crunched up like this, my neck is constricted and short. And when I let my shoulders relax down and away from each other, now my head is nice and relaxed, neck is long, almost like a turtle poking its head out of its shell. Palms are spread wide into the earth, grasping onto your mat. Find one more inhale and exhale. Inhale, bend the knees, coming into a bent knee dog, hips pull up and back. And with the exhale, extending to a plank pose, allowing those shoulders to stack on top of wrists rather than letting them go past. Inhale, bent knee dog, hips pull up and back. And exhale, plank pose. 3 more, in. So we're creating a lubrication through the body, blood flow, and we're also kind of firing up those core muscles even more here. The next time you land in your plank pose, hold. Press those heels back, chest pulls forward just a touch. Micro bend through those elbows. Gaze is about 6 inches in front of the top of your mat. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let those knees lower to the ground and let the chest follow on your exhale for your first chaturanga. Inhale for a low cobra. Bring that chest up. Shoulder blades pull towards one another. Chin is gently tucked. And exhale, release. Let's find one more low cobra here. Inhale, press it back up. Fire up through the quads and glutes even. And exhale, soften. Make your way back to your table pose and then tuck those toes under, downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. If at any point you need to release the wrists, shake them up. Yoga is definitely one of those practices that sometimes, kind of puts a little bit of stress on the hands and wrists. So please honor your body and move as much as you need. This time we're going to fly forward. So with the inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. With the exhale, walk or slightly hop up to the front of your mat. Coming into a deep forward fold, starting with a bend in the knees to start. That way you can relax through your lower back. And even if you know you have the hamstring flexibility to lengthen through the knees, just for a moment, bend through those knees and just kind of maybe take a little lymphatic kind of bobbing up and down. Notice how that really fully relaxes the lower back. And then maybe you can come into your ragdoll by grabbing onto opposite elbows and swaying side to side, letting that stretch kind of transfer from left to right. Shaking of the head, yes and no. Maybe even taking a little bending and extending through the knees one at a time, or both together, coming into a gentle squat and then pressing back up. Enjoy this for one more breath. And then come into your halfway lift by planting the fingers on your shins. Lengthen that crown long. This is an active pose. Those inner belly muscles are squeezing. Exhale, surrender and fold. Let's find one more halfway lift. Inhale, lengthen, squeeze the pelvic muscles. And exhale, soften. This time, here we go. Press through the feet, slowly roll all the way up. Inhale, arms reach. And exhale, hands to heart, ground down here. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, circle sweep the arms up to the sky. Exhale, hinge from the hips, forward fold. Inhale, a strong halfway lift. And exhale, hands plant, stepping or finding a gentle little hop back into your plank pose. We're back in that awesome plank pose. You know how it is supposed to feel. Heels press back, chest pulls forward. Press the floor away with those hands. Breathe in and out. Now deciding if you want to drop those knees back onto the ground. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, chaturanga, either halfway or all the way. Inhale, upward facing dog, or we're taking that low cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Let's take 2 breaths. Feel that little bit of warmth starting to move through the body. And it's funny, even though the heat isn't on in the studio, we are getting a little sweat. Inhale, right leg reaches up to the sky, and then bend and extend a couple times here. Maybe dial that right hip open by letting the heel go over towards the left side of the room. Maybe circle. And then eventually, right toes reach back up to the sky. Square those hips. Inhale. With the exhale, pull knee over towards left elbow. Inhale, sweep right toes back up to the sky. Exhale, right knee to right elbow. Try to hike it up nice and high. Inhale, last sweep back. With the exhale, pull right knee in towards the chest. Step to your runner's lunge. From your runner's lunge, finding a hover position by lifting that chest up, arms pull back with the palms facing down. If this is a little too intense, those hands can always stay on blocks, but try to keep that chest lifted. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale, rise to your crescent lunge. Tuck that back left knee by bending it and letting the pelvis start to pull underneath you. With the inhale, arms reach up. And with the exhale, dip and twist to the right. So left arm pulls forward, right arm pulls back. Inhale, rise. Exhale, dip and twist. 5 more. In. 4. 3. Here's 2. And 1. Inhale, rise back up to your crescent lunge. And with the exhale, start to hinge yourself back down. Hands plant, right foot sweeps up and back, 3-leg dog. Open that hip one more time here by bending the right knee, dropping right heel over. If a flip dog is in your practice, you can go ahead and take a flip dog by bending through that left knee, letting the right toes drop to the left side of your mat and pressing those hips up to the sky. To dismount out of this pose with the exhale, bend through the knees, drop those hips down, and then swivel back, right foot up to the sky. Pull right knee in towards the chest, step back to that runner's lunge. This time we'll dial left heel down and cartwheel open to your warrior 2 facing the ballet bars. So those right toes are forward, the back edge of the left foot is to the back of your mat. Hold your warrior 2 once you find that right location. So you might need to wiggle those hips. You might need to open your stance or bring it a little bit closer together. The importance of this pose is that that right knee is stacked on right ankle. So you don't want it to go past the ankle because that's going to put a lot of pressure on the front part of your knee. Open your arms into a T, bring the palms up to face the sky. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Let that right arm come up and over. And with the exhale, extend your warrior. So let that right forearm come towards the right inner thigh or knee. Inhale to reverse. And exhale to extend. Find a couple more here, allowing that upper body to be nice and fluid, where the lower body is plugged in. So this might sound weird, but sometimes I actually imagine my feet like little Lego pieces, and they're clipped into the earth. If any of you have ever played with Legos, you know what I'm talking about. The next time you come into your side angle position, hold here. You can even bring that right palm down onto a block or bring the right forearm on top of right thigh. Let's circle through that left arm a couple times. So let the left fingertips drop down and then circle around in one direction and then in the opposite direction. Eventually find your best version of side angle. Maybe the left fingertips reach up. Maybe you find that half bind by letting the left hand come behind the back towards the right hip. Press into those feet, especially the outer edge of that left foot. Breathe in. Breathe out. Notice the stability in this pose. It's a challenging place to be, but our muscles are keeping us locked in. To slowly come out of it, we're going to reverse that warrior. Lengthen through right leg. Point the toes to the sky. And with the exhale, cartwheel hands down. Return back to your runner's lunge. Hands plant, right foot steps back to meet left in a plank pose, or you can challenge yourself. Keep that right foot lifted for a three-legged plank. Holds for 3, 2, 1. Find a strong and controlled chaturanga. Lower to your degree. Inhale is a peeling open of the chest in a low cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. 2 breaths here. Know that you can always take a drink of water whenever that's calling to you. Let's find one more breath. Inhale, left leg sweeps up to the sky, and then bend and extend a couple times, maybe even circle that left knee. Open up the hip perhaps by letting that left heel drop over towards the right side of your room. Try to not dump all of your weight into the right hand and shoulder. Eventually, left toes sweep up to the sky. Square your hips in. With the exhale, left knee pulls over towards right elbow. Inhale, sweep it back up. Exhale, left knee to left elbow. Really try to hike it up there. Inhale, sweep it back up. Last time. Exhale, knee to chest. Step for your runner's lunge. Make sure those feet are hip distance apart. Left foot is plugged in. Back, right heel presses for the back of your mat. Start to peel that chest up in your airplane hover or runner's lunge hover. Airplane lunge, whatever you call this pose, it's hard. Bring those fingertips back, palms face the ground. Hands can always be on blocks here too. Keep that chest lifted open. Here's your inhale and exhale. Inhale, lift to your crescent lunge, bend through that back right knee. Take a moment to set this up. You might need to walk those feet a little bit closer together. With the inhale, lift to an extended crescent lunge. And with the exhale, dip and twist to the left. Right arm pulls forward, left arm pulls back. Inhale, rise. And exhale, dip and twist. Here's our last 5. 4, we're building dynamic tension through our lower body as you dip down. Here's 3. It's nice to take them nice and slow so you can really feel each movement of each muscle. 2. And last 1, dip and twist. Inhale, rise, crescent lunge. And with the exhale, let those hands frame left foot. Step left foot up and back, 3-legged dog. Maybe you bend the knee, dial the hip open here. Maybe you're going for that flip dog by bending right knee, letting those left toes land to the right. Press those hips up, let the chest be free. And to dismount, dip the hips, bend through the knees, and then send that left foot up and back, 3-legged dog. Inhale. With the exhale, pull knee back into the chest, step to that runner's lunge. Dial right heel down and open up warrior 2 position. So coming into your warrior 2, this time the left toes to the front of your mat and that back edge of the right foot to the back of your mat, pressing away. Set up your warrior 2. Notice if those hips are a little sassy out to the right and try to keep those hips right below shoulders. Open your arms into a T. Check in with that bend through the left knee. Is it too bent Or is it not bent enough? Try to find that happy medium. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Left arm picks up and over. And with the exhale, extend your warrior. Couple more times. Inhale, reverse. Keep those legs where they need to be. Exhale, extend. While that upper body is fluid. The next time you come into that side angle, hold here. That back edge of the right foot needs to be pressing towards the back of your mat for a strong side angle. Start to rotate through the right shoulder. You can always drop that left forearm onto the thigh, or maybe take the left palm onto the thigh. Take this in the opposite direction. Notice how the left rib cage is tilting over to face the front. Then find the best version of your side angle. So whatever you choose to take this morning, maybe right fingertips reach up, maybe a half bind, letting the right hand come towards the back left hip. Press into those feet. Find the struggle of this pose and befriend it. Let it be the reason why you're so strong. Now you are worthy of the challenge. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last one. And then to come out of it, reverse your warrior. Lengthen through left leg. Turn the toes up to the sky. And with the exhale, cartwheel hands down, back to that runner's lunge. Hands plant, left foot steps back to meet right, either plank or three-legged plank. Left toes stay lifted up off the ground. 3, 2, 1. Find a strong and controlled lower for your chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or low cobra. And this time, we'll come back into a child's pose, perhaps grabbing a little drink of water. Whew, sweaty, huh? Mid-July in the hot yoga studio. You don't need any heat. I guarantee it. You'll be sweaty. Find a moment in your child's pose for a breath. Just a towel. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I'm good. I'm so sweaty, I just needed a little towel. Then we'll get right back into it. You ladies craving any specific balancing postures this morning? Now that I have you to ask? No? Yes? Come on. Balancing posture? No? All right. All right, let's go back. Tuck the toes under, lift those hips up and back. So these gals gave me full freedom for any balancing posture we want to take this morning. They might regret that. They might regret that. Inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. And exhale, walk or hop to the front of your mat, forward fold. Spend a moment in your fold here, just kind of recalibrating through your breath, through that blood flow, maybe shaking the head yes and no. Preparing your mind for a little bit of balancing. Inhale, halfway lift, nice and strong. And exhale, fold. Inhale, press through the feet, slowly rise. Arms reach up. And exhale, hands to heart. Beautiful. Ground down here for a moment. Press both feet into the earth. So what I'm asking of you is to kind of flare your toes and then press the toes back down onto the earth, almost like you're kind of grabbing onto the earth with that foot. You should feel the entire outer edge of your thighs fire up. Bringing the weight into right foot, pull that left knee in towards the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Maybe rotate left ankle. And then opening up left leg out to the left, right arm out to the right, dancing Shiva pose. We're going to pulse in and out of this a couple times. So the inhale is an opening in your dancing Shiva. The exhale is a pulling left knee and right elbow towards one another. Inhale to open. Exhale, center. Now to make this more challenging, bring that left arm off of left knee, come into a T. And with the exhale, elbows towards the center. 3, 2, beautiful focus, you guys. And 1, hold in your dancing Shiva pose. You can bring the left hand back onto the leg, or maybe you work on your kick by either grabbing left foot, kicking out, or if you want to find the variation that helps you get into that, you might practice just bringing that left palm under left thigh and just pulsing that kick a couple times. So this is a beautiful way to get your body used to that motion. And maybe for your last inhale and exhale, you extend to your fullest expression of this pose. Keep squeezing that right glute. Breathe in and out. Beautiful. Slowly start to release. Shake out that right standing leg. And if you're not already at the top of your mat, go to the top of your mat. This time we're going to press left foot into the earth. Circle sweep the arms up to the sky. And with the exhale, pull your hands towards your heart. Start to take right knee up to the chest just to hover here. And then send that right foot back, coming into a warrior 3. Hands can stay at heart. If balance is an issue, interlace those hands on left thigh and use it as a little shelf. Keep a bend through that left knee, flexing right foot, squeeze right glute. Maybe to make this even more challenging, those arms reach back with the palms facing down. Here's 3, 2, and 1. Land in your crescent lunge. Left toes to the back of your mat. Arms pull up to the sky. Maybe gaze follows. Open your throat and heart. And with the exhale, open up warrior 2. Now in your warrior 2, we're going to find our goddess position. So bring the right heel in, toes come out. And then just kind of bob up and down a couple times so you can really start to understand this position. We are going to be running a couple minutes late this morning because we were a couple minutes late to start. So if you do need to come out of your posture and kind of come out of your practice for 10 o'clock, we'll take this last little sequence together. Finally, come into your goddess pose. So find that position where you're not too deep because you don't want to stress those hip flexors, but you're lifted up, those heels are pressing down, quads are engaged. Coming into a lotus mudra, so the pinkies and thumbs come to touch at heart. Inhale, rise, open your lotus up to the sky. Spread the arms apart from one another, and exhale, return back to the start. Inhale, lift, press through the heels. And exhale, lower. Maybe this time as you rise, you come up onto the tippy toes and lower. Here's our last one. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Hold for 5, 4. Press through those heels. 2 and 1. Inhale, rise. Open the arms up into a T. Bring the toes in for a wide-legged position. Inhale, open your heart. And exhale, hinge until you come into your wide-legged forward folds. Couple options here might be hands on blocks, finding more of a halfway lift. You might let your chest fall all the way down and grab onto the ankles for a more Bikram style position. You might take some rocking of the hips side to side. You might even go into a funky headstand or arm balance. This is all exploration for the next 3 breaths. If you are doing something funky, you don't need to rush out of it for us. You can take your time. I'm sure you'll meet back with us when you're ready. And I'm loving seeing my friend Erin coming into a headstand. It's been too long. We would practice next to each other most mornings, so awesome to see you back. Let's walk the hands over towards the left foot when you're ready. If you just came out of a headstand, take your time. Hands plant, left foot steps back to meet right, plank pose, hold for 3, 2, and 1. With your exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, up dog or low cobra, and exhale, downward facing dog. 2 breaths. Inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. Exhale, walk or hop to the front of your mat, forward fold. Breathe 1 breath in your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, press through the feet, slowly rise. Arms reach to the sky. And exhale, hands to heart, ground down. Make sure that we're kind of hugging the ground with that left foot as we bring right knee in towards the chest for a standing wind relieving pose. Rotate at right ankle a couple times. Really squeeze that left glute. Opening up to your dancing Shiva, right leg out to the right, left arm out to the left. So again, this is our inhale. The exhale is a pulling the elbow and knee towards the center. Inhale, open. Exhale, curl. Now maybe going for that extra challenge. Both arms open and both arms pull to the center. Last 2. Very challenging stuff here, not easy. And 1. Open back up to your dancing Shiva. Maybe you re-grasp onto the left knee. If you want to try for that kick, you might bring the right palm underneath right thigh and just pulse a couple times. This strengthens your hip flexor. Beautiful expression of this pose. Now for the last couple breaths or so, maybe you come into your fullest expression. Squeeze left glute. Breathe in and out. And slowly release out of this pose. Shake it out, especially that left standing leg. If you're not at the top of your mat, come back to the top of your mat. Press right foot into the ground as arms circle sweep to the sky. Exhale, pull that energy towards the heart as you pick left knee up to the chest. Hover. And then we'll hinge forward. Let that left leg sweep back for a warrior 3 position. Left foot is flexed. Again, if balance is hard, bring those fingertips interlaced on right thigh. Keep a deep bend in that right knee. So the deeper that knee is, the more strength you're accessing here. Maybe, just maybe, those arms pull back with the palms facing down. Here's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Crescent lunge. Arms pull up to the sky. Find a nice opening through your heart and chest. And with the exhale, dial left heel down. Open back up, warrior 2 position. We'll skip our goddess pose. Lengthen that right leg. Turn the toes in, wide-legged position. Choosing to keep those arms out into a T, or maybe bringing them behind the lower back to interlace. Inhale, open your chest. Exhale, hinge forward and enjoy your wide-legged forward fold. If those hands are interlaced, try to imagine that your knuckles are brushing up against the ceiling rather than letting those knuckles fall behind the back of the head. You want to press those arms up the sky. Choosing to stay with this grip or remove it if it is no longer serving you. We'll spend about 5 breaths here. So if you have anything funky you want to try, just be safe. Maybe this static position is calling your name and you're just letting yourself hang here. Blood flow is moving into the head. Maybe a little rocking. We're on our last 2 breaths. If you're doing anything fancy, you can stay as long as you need. Walking hands over towards the left foot, coming back to your runner's lunge. Hands plant, left foot steps back to meet, right foot steps back to meet left. We're in our plank pose. Breathe in, breathe out. Slowly hinge all the way down to your mat, maybe at the count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming on to your bellies, allowing the arms to come alongside of you, gaze towards one direction. You can bend the knees and windshield wiper feet from side to side. If you need to prop yourself up and grab a quick drink of water, you can do that as well. Whatever is calling your name here, feel that heart beat onto the earth. That is your life force energy. Coming into a quad stretch by bringing the right forearm underneath the head as a pillow or as a little kickstand to keep your chest lifted. Bend left knee, grab onto foot or ankle. For a moment, just pick up that left knee and kind of pull it towards the back of your mat. That way you're coming out of your hip joint. And then we're providing ourselves with enough energy of kind of kicking into left hand and left hand pulling that leg back. So I say just enough energy because this should be a pretty passive pose. Or not passive, rather relaxing pose. Static, restorative, yeah. Find one more breath here. And let the left leg kick back down, switch out the forearms. Bend right knee this time, grab onto foot or ankle. Lengthen right knee to the back of your mat, and then find that quad stretch by giving yourself enough energy through the leg. Feel that opening through the front chain of your body. One more breath. And then releasing out of this, you can bend the knees and windshield wiper once again, side to side. Lengthening the legs back down your mat, bringing the hands alongside of the chest, either pressing yourself up for a table pose or finding a reverse push-up by tucking the toes under, squeezing the quads, glutes, abdominals, inhale, and with a strong exhale, press your way up into your plank pose, and then let those knees drop into your table pose. Take a couple little wiggles here, maybe some presses back and forth, or some hip circles, maybe a cat and a cow. And then we'll come into our pigeon pose. So if you prefer a reclined pigeon, you can turn around onto your backs. If you'd like to come for a prone pigeon, tuck those toes under, lift the hips up and back. Inhale, right leg to the sky, and then right knee pulls towards right wrist, landing in your prone pigeon. It's very important that that right thigh is parallel to the long edge of your mat. And then that left knee can open up to the left with a bend in the knee for a little bit more of a seated, comfortable position. Or you can always take a block underneath right hip as well for an option. Now in this pose, you might choose to keep that chest lifted for a couple breaths. Option to hinge forward and let your chest hang down. Maybe even bringing a block underneath the forehead as a little support so that the neck and shoulders can relax. And I know some of you guys have come to my class before COVID. I would always give nice hands-on assists and massage. And you can actually give yourself one here if you'd like. So with the right elbow or left elbow or palm or forearm on the ground, you can take that right palm and just kind of press the right thigh a couple times. The length of the thigh. If you have healthy knees, I like to even kind of press that right knee down. Or maybe take your thumb and kind of massage that crease where the hip and thigh meet. We'll find 2 more breaths. So if you want to relax for the last 2 breaths and just kind of find a stillness. Then preparing to come out of this by slowly propping yourself up, hands plant, left toes tuck under, and then extend back to a downward facing dog. Take any little wiggles here before sending the left leg up to the sky with your inhale. And with the exhale, we're pulling left knee towards left wrist, landing in your prone position. Take any variation you like here. Utilizing the blocks underneath left hip if you need. Left thigh is parallel to the long edge of your mat. That's really the most important cue here. Again, that chest can stay lifted for as long as you please. And perhaps you hinge forward and let yourself rest. Head can be on a block. Try to remove any tension through the shoulders and neck. Even if you are supporting yourself, just try to do it in a way that is functional for your body. If you liked that little adjustment, you might take left hand and just kind of massage left thigh a little bit. Maybe even all the way up into that hip crease. And we'll be here for about 3 more breaths, so choose whatever you'd like. And then slowly starting to press yourself up, hands plant, right toes tuck under, hips pull up and back, downward facing dog, pedal it out. And then drop the knees to the ground and flip onto your backs. Take your time to arrive. Start by taking a nice long stretch, arms reach up overhead, feet pull to the bottom of your mat. Pulling the knees in towards the chest, giving yourself a squeeze. Keeping right knee pulled in, lengthen left leg down your mat. We're finding a wind relieving pose one more time. So we took this a couple different ways. We took it at the beginning of class. We also took it in a standing position as well. So just notice how your body is so much more welcoming of this expression. Letting this carry you into your twist by letting that right leg cross over towards the left. You can take any position with that left leg. It might want to stay straight and lengthened, or maybe it wants to bend. I personally like to bring a cushion underneath my right knee. That way it's not just floating. And just a reminder, now that we are running some classes indoors, we will not be providing any sort of, reusable block. So if you need to get some from your home studio and bring them in. A couple breaths here. And then pulling both knees back into the chest as you come to center. Keeping left knee pulled in, right leg lengthens down, wind relieving pose. This is an awesome pose for our digestive system and internal organs of the belly. We're constricting a little bit of blood flow into that left hip. And then when we transition this into our twist by letting that left leg cross over right, we're removing that blockage of blood flow, and blood is rushing into that area of the body with nutrients. Take any modification of this pose that works best for your body. And a twisting at the end of our class is so great for the vertebra, sealing in all of those wonderful positives and benefits we've done throughout our practice. Wringing out the spine of any toxins. Last breath here. And then come back to center. And we'll take a full happy baby. So if that's not in your practice and you liked the half happy baby pose we took at the beginning of class, you can come into that. Your body might be ready for that full happy baby pose. If you are going for it, we're going to try to keep that lower back on the earth. So we're trying not to let the lower back become detached. Keep that lower back pressing. You can rock your baby side to side with bent knees. You can bend and extend one leg at a time as you rock. You can also just extend legs and come into a straddle position if your body is enjoying that. We'll be here for about 3 more breaths. And then finish off by taking any last little movements before coming into your final resting pose. If you have any lower back issues, I recommend bringing the soles of the feet to the outer edges of your mat with bent knees and then letting those knees knock in towards one another. Once you've entered your final resting pose, just let that soft wave of breath start to come in and out. Feel the connection of the body into the earth. Perhaps feeling as if there are roots coming out of your body and being planted into the ground below you. And befriend the simplicity that is this moment. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Shanti. Taking a deep breath in and letting it go. 2 more. As your breath continues to expand, start to bring some movement back into the fingers and toes. And taking the next 3 or so breaths to take any movements that slowly start to reawaken you and carry you back into your meditative seat. If you're not ready to come back into seated, you can stay as long as you'd like in a reclined position. Maybe it even turns into a little mid-morning nap. When you're ready, bringing your hands over heart, either palms together or palms on your body. Allow your eyes to close. Tune back into that soul. Ask once again, how are you, soul? How are you, Erin? How are you, Constantina? How are you, Lisa? Maybe the answer has changed since the beginning of class to now. And if it hasn't, that's okay too. And we'll seal our class with the single sound of Om, virtually and in person. Start with a cleansing breath. Breathe in and out. And for Om. That has a totally different sensation than it ever has. Thank you all for joining us this morning. We really appreciate your continued support. Tune in tomorrow at 9 a.m. for another class. Hopefully the rain holds off and we can have another outdoor practice. Please join us on Victory Field. And now we bow our heads towards one another in gratitude and reverence and say namaste. Thank you guys all so much. This has been such a pleasure being able to teach you virtually as well as in person. Yay! So thank you guys. Please stay tuned for, continued announcements about how our studio will be continuing practice. For right now, we have the 9 a.m. every morning live and outdoors at Victory Field if weather is good to us. We also have Tuesday, Thursday, and Sundays, 4 p.m. for an in-person, in-studio Bikram class. Spots are limited, so please make sure you pre-register. Bring your mask and all of your gear that you need. Leave any extras at home or in your car. And then Saturday at 4 p.m. out on Victory Field, we have Inferno Hot Pilates with our very own Cheryl. All right? Thank you guys so much and take care. Namaste.